Welcome to Science Access. In today's class, we'll be talking about the phylum Cnidaria and we'll be following this outline. Phylum Cnidaria, characteristics of the phylum Cnidaria. We'll talk about the dimorphism in which they exhibit two types of body form, the polyp form and the Medusa form. We'll also talk about the classification of the Cnidaria, and we'll now take a representative organism, the Hydra, and we'll discuss all the functions and structures in the body of this organism. The phylum Cnidaria, formerly called Coelenterate, is a group of more than 9,000 species. Coelenterate are commonly mispronounced as Coelenterata. The name Cnidaria originates from the fact that they possess a cell termed cnidocyte. The cnidocyte possesses nematocyst, which is actually a sticky organelle. Take a look at this Cnidaria that is being displayed on the screen. The cnidocyst as a cell is present in the tentacle as well as in the mouth region. A touch can trigger the cnidocyst, which leads to the release of the nematocyst, which eventually injects poison into the prey or help in the capturing of the prey. Let's take a look at the characteristics of the Cnidaria. They are entirely marine animals with few freshwater species. They are radially symmetrical, which means that they can be cut into two equal halves through several planes. They possess two basic body types, which is the polyp form and the Medusa form. As you can see on the screen, this is the polyp form and this is the Medusa form. Details of these two body forms will be explained later. Cnidarians possess hydrostatic skeleton. This is a kind of skeleton in which water fills a particular space, forming a watertight structure. As you can see on the screen, the body or the cavity of the Cnidaria is called coelenteron or coelenteron. It is filled with body fluid to form a watertight structure regarded as hydrostatic skeleton. It should be noted that some Cnidarians possess a kind of skeleton made up of calcium carbonate. As you can see from the diagram, their body is made up of two main layers, the ectoderm and the endoderm. Between them is the middle layer regarded as the mesoglea. As you can see from the diagram, they possess a central cavity called the gastrovascular cavity or coelenteron, which possesses a single opening called the mouth. This mouth actually serves as both for ingestion and ejection. As you can also see from the diagram, they possess tentacles. These tentacles actually have nematocysts, which are stinging cells, and they actually help in capturing of their food. Cnidarians reproduce both sexually and asexually. Sexual forms are either hermaphroditic or sexes may be separate. They produce planula larvae. Cnidarians also reproduce asexually by budding or fragmentation. They lack excretory or respiratory system. Cnidarians take two main structural forms during their life cycle, the polyp form and the Medusa form. As you can see from the diagram, the polyp form forms a body shape like a hollow cylinder that has an opening at the top. The opening actually serves for both ingestion and ejection. Tentacles, as you can see from the diagram, form a ring around the small mouth at the top of this cylinder. The mouth eventually leads to the gastrovascular cavity. The polyp form usually attached to hard surfaces with their bottom, while the mouth is present at the top. They are usually sensile. This means that they are usually in a fixed position by attaching themselves to a surface. Medusa form is the second structural form. As you can see from the diagram, Medusa bodies are shaped like an umbrella, with the mouth and tentacle hanging down in the water. The mouth leads upward into the gastrovascular cavity. It should be noted that the Medusa are not sensile like the polyp. Rather, they are motile. They move and swim freely in the water. Let's talk about the classification of the phylum Cnidaria. The phylum is divided into the following classes, namely class Hydrozoa, class Scyphozoa, class Cubozoa, and class Anthozoa. Hydro means water and zoa means animals. Hydrozoa are mainly marine. They are either colonial or solitary Cnidarians. They are usually small predatory animals, and they usually possess the two body forms, which is the sexually reproducing Medusa and asexually reproducing polyp form. A fertilized egg, which is produced by the sexually reproducing Medusa form, develops into the sensile polyp form, which eventually bud asexually and produce the Medusa form. This Medusa form eventually produce gametes which eventually develop into the polyp form. So this process is actually repeated. Examples of the hydrozoa include the Hydra, the Obelia, the Portuguese man of war or Physalia, and Cora fire or fire Cora. Let's talk about the class Scyphozoa. Scypho means corp and zoa, animals. They are actually solitary cnidaria with reduced or no polyp stage. They are exclusively marine organisms that possess a well-developed bell-shaped medusa that lack venom. It should be noted that scyphozoans are called true jellyfish and they possess enlarged mesoglea. Mesoglea is actually the middle layer. Their medusa is called Scyphomedusa, while the medusa of hydrozoa is called Hydromedusa. They are gonochoristic, which means that they possess separate sexes. Male sperm producing individual is different from female gamete producing individual. Scyphozoa shows alternation of generation, but this polyp stage is, however, inconspicuous. As I mentioned earlier, sexes are separate and reproduction begins when the male releases spermatozoa into the water body and it swims into the female's central oral cavity where it fertilizes the egg. Fertilized egg develop into planular larvae which eventually emerge and settle in the bottom of the ocean. These develop into the polyp form which reproduce asexually by budding to produce the Medusa form. The Medusa form eventually produces gametes and the process is repeated. Let's talk about the class Cubozoa. They are mainly marine solitary cnidaria with reduced polyp form. As you are aware, the Medusa stage is dominant and is bell-shaped. They possess tentacles. An example of this include the Chironex, Tripedalia, and others. Let's talk about the last class, which is the class Anthozoa. Anthozoa is the largest class and the polyp form is actually dominant. In reality, they lack the Medusa form. They are marine cnidaria which exist either in the solitary form or colonial form. The various subclasses, an example of this group is being displayed on the screen. Let's talk about Hydra as a representative of the phylum Cnidaria. As you are aware, Hydra are actually multicellular organisms that exhibit remarkable regenerative abilities. Now, their regenerative ability simply means that if you cut a part of this organism off, they have the tendency to actually grow it back. They are small freshwater animals possessing tubular body structure as you can see on the screen. They also possess tentacles surrounding the central mouth as you can see on the screen. The characteristics of Hydra are similar to those of the Cnidarians and they include the fact that they possess tentacles, they are diploblastic, they are acolomate, they possess the central cavity referred to as gastrovascular cavity or coelenteron, and other characteristics of the Cnidarians. How do Hydra carry out gaseous exchange and excretion? This is simply through the process of diffusion. Gaseous exchange occur by dissolved oxygen diffusing into their body while carbon dioxide will diffuse out. Their excretory waste is actually ammonia which actually diffuse out of the body of the Hydra because they are aquatic animals. Let's talk about nutrition in Hydra. Hydra actually capture their prey which are usually aquatic invertebrates such as water fleas, insect larvae and tiny crustaceans. These prey are usually captured using their tentacle armed with the cnidocyte. The prey are immobilized by the tentacles and transported through the mouth into the gastrovascular cavity or coelenteron. Digestive enzymes are secreted to digest the food and digestion and absorption of the food occur in the gastrovascular cavity. Let's talk about reproduction in Hydra. Reproduction occurs both sexually and asexually. Reproduction asexually occurs through the process of budding, while sexual reproduction involves the production of gametes which fusion occur developing into a new organism. This is the end of this lecture. In our subsequent video, various organism biology and life cycles will be discussed in our subsequent video. This is just a summary of the phylum Cnidaria. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to support this channel. Thanks for watching.